Welcome to Entrepreneurs Creating OMG Moments. I am excited to bring another special guest to you today, Susan Butler, and she is an amazing woman who is stepping out, creating those OMG moments for herself as well as her clients, and getting to the place in her business. She helps people with their financial freedom and what they want to do. So welcome to our show, Susan. Great to
Thank
have you.
you.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about you and share with us one of those OMG moments that you had to step outside of your comfort zone, big and bold, that helped you to lead to some success in your business.
Well, actually, part of it was the very beginning of what got me into coaching because I had spent over 30 years in the financial industry and worked hard getting all my licenses, designations. I'm a certified financial planner. I had several of the securities licenses and everything else, lots of studying and test taking and everything. But I had this one client that I worked with for a year and took her from a point of devastation for her to complete total independence and ready to make decisions again in her life and around money. And she went and got her master's degree in her 60s and just phenomenal things that happened. So that made me decide, wow, I like the impact of this coaching instead of just selling and taking money under management. So I went to this big workshop convention in Las Vegas for a coaching program. And I was saying, all the things they kept saying, I said, I can't do that. That's in conflict with all the compliance I have to do with the SEC for my licenses and everything. One of the senior coaches said to me, what do you need those licenses for? I was like, what? I mean, all the many hours and years that I'd been working getting those licenses and taking all the tests and everything. And I started thinking about it that night and realized, okay, those are used for selling. And that's not where my passion lies, apparently. It's more with coaching. So I made the decision, and it was a tough one, but to let go of all of the licenses. Except I did keep the certified financial planner because that one I could do without conflict. And so, 2 years I watched everything pass that because once the 2 years was up, then you'd have to start over and do it again.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I didn't look back. I never considered going back to them again after I made the decision and moved forward from there, just getting more and more certifications in coaching and, in life coaching and life mastery. Then I already had the financial knowledge. So that's where the harmony comes in as I bring it together.
That is awesome. I love that you shared this because I think there's so many people who are tied to a certification or a license, and they think, oh, how can I let go of that in order to take the next step and to move into what I really want to do, whether that's coaching or something else for you, when those two aren't aligned. I actually call myself a recovering CPA because I had a CPA license at one point. And throughout my professional career, I got to a point where I moved into technology and wasn't really working as much in finance, and then eventually moved to coaching. I realized I don't have to keep that license, right? It's not going to serve me. I'm not going to use it again in the future. But it was a big thing, right? Because you go through all those tests and it was grueling and you do all the studying and you put so much effort for it. And at one point, getting that license was probably an OMG moment for you. Like, yes, I got it, right? And now the OMG moment is I'm letting it go so I can step into serving more people in a different way and something that feels more aligned to what you do. I love,
Exactly. But you're giving up a part of your identity as you knew it,
yeah.
but you're taking on a new identity that's even better.
Absolutely. I want to ask the audience here, like, what do you need to let go of? Maybe it's not a license, maybe it's not even a certification or something, but there's probably something you're holding on to that you also need to let go of in order to step into what you say you really want to do, in order to make that next step. So we'll challenge you today to think about what that is and how you make that happen. So I know you shared how you were in Vegas and someone challenged you with this and you had to think about it, but what did you really have to overcome in order to step truly into coaching and doing what you wanted to do to help other people?
Well, you overcome the fact that you're giving up the normal paycheck because
Yeah.
becoming an entrepreneur, all of a sudden it's all up to you. And boy, I made a lot of discoveries along the way. about what I was good at or not good at doing on my own. And I mean, I really miss my IT department. Being
Sounds like we
able
have
to
a very
call up
similar
and
background, finance and IT. Yeah, and
yeah,
we jokingly call it the corporate crack, right? That's your paycheck that you are getting that you're so addicted to coming in every other week, and it is really hard to let go of that. So that was one of the things you had to overcome is being able to let go of that security of that steady income coming in and knowing that you'd be able to replace that income with your business.
exactly. And yeah, it's very hard. And then plus putting all the money, investing all the money in myself to get the coaching that I needed to get the
Mm.
certifications and the knowledge and the tools to be able to do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you added that because I think it's so important for people to know that it does take an investment in yourself, right? To
Definitely.
find the right people who can help you do it faster and easier and save you time and money in the long run to get there. So it is an investment in yourself. I love the way you put that. Awesome. So what's the most exciting thing that's going to be happening for you this next year? What's an OMG moment you're looking to create?
Well, I've opened up more openings in my one-on-one coaching. So I love just working individually with people and then seeing that transition happen. I'm expanding on my group program, also entitled Feminine Financial Freedom. And that one was very exciting when I ran the beta on that to see the success and the change that happened with a group of women. Because it's kind of hard to think about talking about finance
Mm.
with a group as opposed to individually in confidence. But the way it's designed, it's actually very easy for people to talk about because they're not talking about individual money situations. They're talking about the concepts, the mindsets, the lessons that I teach them, good debt versus bad debt, how to get rid of your old paradigms and habits and negative thoughts and turn them around, and how to vision and think bigger, dream bigger so that you can aim for something else other than what you've already known.
I love that. And share with us some of the impact that that's had on your clients and going through your program.
I had actually worked one-on-one with one of the people that was in my group, my beta group, and she still got new information from the group program, which was kind of interesting, because she was anti-debt, very anti-debt. But once I showed her some of the good ways of using debt and the good debt that's out there that
Mm-hmm.
allows you to live your life now instead of waiting like till you have all the money to buy a house. It allows you to live in that house now and pay a mortgage. So all of a sudden she's got these big ahas just from that module. On the one-on-one side, I had a client in absolute distress come to me in the middle of going through divorce proceeding. She knew nothing about what her husband had set up in any of the finances. And she just went to every meeting of arbitration crying and knew
Mm.
nothing. She called me up. We sat down, we did things very quickly. I taught her the basics of what she needed to know fast, what to ask for in the arbitration. By the time we got there and she signed the divorce papers, she knew what she was signing and she felt okay with it, that there was nothing else that she was fighting for. Now we're working together, that she's developing her own independence now to do her own finances, how to deal with money, building her business, getting that new independence, that newfound confidence and independence that she didn't have before.
Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, it's a huge transition, especially when you've been in that relationship and, you may not have been the money winner, or maybe you have, but you've never really focused on how do you create that financial independence. So I love that you're helping people with that. And you mentioned good debt. And so I'd love for you to expand a little bit on good debt versus bad debt. And you mentioned a mortgage. And I know I'd love to hear your version of this. I have my opinion on some like what's good debt and what's bad debt. But I think this is a concept that people really need to understand because there are people out there, like you said, that we're so resistant to any debt that it
Mm-hmm.
keeps them from being able to move forward in a lot of things because they're not willing to take on some short term or some debt that's actually going to catapult them in other ways. So talk to us a little bit about the good debt versus the bad debt.
Well, even those who want to pay off, they're determined to pay off their mortgage fast. Well, if you're sitting in one of those 2.9% mortgages, really low rate like that,
Yeah.
you don't want to be in such a hurry to pay that off, because if you've got the money to be able to pay that off and you invest that money, you're going to have a bigger return
Mm-hmm.
than if you paid off the debt. But it's the idea of like debt becomes a four-letter word. to some people, but there isn't. There's such good use of debt, building your business, investing in yourself if you have to borrow to do that, to be able to, in order to build this business and make it successful, or something as simple as buying a car. Not everybody has 40,000 just sitting there ready to put out for the car.
Right.
But this allows you to be able to get a car so you can get to and from your business or whatever you need to do in life.
Yeah.
And so that's a good debt. But the bad debts would be credit card debt with a high interest rates and any other high interest loans that you may have taken out previously.
Absolutely. I think there's the concept of what you're buying with the debt too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's good investments, like you talked about investing in your business as a good debt when it has a payoff and it's going to help you and move you through things. And then I always analogy of your bad debt is when you're just going out and buying purses and shoes and things, but you don't really have the money to pay those things off and you accumulate all of that credit card debt, right? Or things that you don't necessarily need, you just want, that are going to get you into a position where you're having a hard time paying that back off. So
Yeah,
I
you
think,
want to have a plan to be able to pay debt back, but even if you're going on, you get an exciting opportunity to take a once in a lifetime vacation.
mhm,
That are you going to keep waiting until the right time, as people call it, and who knows, something may happen. You may get terribly ill or disabled, or something happens in life that prevents you from doing it in the future. So sometimes you have to live life now when the opportunity shows itself.
right. And knowing you have that plan in place to be able to pay it
Mhm.
off and get yourself out of that debt. That's a big thing. So
Exactly.
awesome. Tip or tool you want to share with our audience here about how they can help manage their finances or an area of your expertise?
Well, I'd say a lot, like I said, a lot of this is mindset around
Mm,
money. And you don't even realize the negative talk or the negative thoughts that you have around money itself. Money is an energy, it's a tool that's used to accomplish what you want to accomplish, helping other people, helping, get yourself something that you want so that you are more rested and happier to be able to spend more energy helping others. Becoming aware of a lot of this negative talk or the negative thoughts when they come up, because they are buried deep inside of you, starting at age 3, from things that you saw your parents do or teachers or other friends. Oh, we don't have enough money for this, or
yeah.
you have to work harder to get more money, or only greedy people go after lots of money. There's all sorts of them, or there's not enough money to pay the bills. And so all
Mhm.
this scarcity, those are all negative mindsets. And if money's an energy, it's not going to be attracted to you if you have negative thoughts about it.
Yeah. And do you have a
And
suggestion of how someone who's in that pattern right now? Because I know there are a lot of people that get in that pattern and you're living the paycheck to paycheck and or client to client and you're trying to figure out how do I switch this? So is there one thing that you're like, this will help you in changing that mindset, shifting that belief to change the energy around your money?
on the simplest of terms, the first thing is the awareness of whatever
Hmm.
the negative thought is, write it down, and then you can draw a line on the paper. And then on the other side, turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
Like I'm not worthy of having all this money. And then on the positive side, saying, I am worthy of a good life and endless flow of money to help others. Something positive on the other side. That
Yeah.
just kind of flips a switch in you to start thinking about it. Well, now that's only going to be in your conscious mind. Your subconscious is still going to be saying, I'm not worthy. Then it's going to take some repetition, some practice, some exercises that I can provide people, and just saying that over and over again until you actually believe it. It's on the simplest of terms when you say just do repetitions, but there's a lot more to it, of attaching emotion to it. And,
Sure.
in order to get you to a point of believing it.
Yes. And the way you word it can make a difference in your belief around it, right? Because we can't believe something that is totally outside of our realm of thinking. And so sometimes just changing your wording a little bit, like I am working towards creating a business that sustains my income and brings in abundance. And so just by adding like little things like that, like I'm working towards this, and I am taking the steps needed versus saying, I am doing this, because then our brain knows it's not true. And so it turns it into a negative and it starts doubting it. And so the language, think about how you're putting that down. So I love that we talk about it in terms of it's the replace, right? So you're taking that belief, replacing it with something else, training your brain, your subconscious mind of this new belief. And anytime the other one comes up, it's like, nope, that's not what I believe anymore. This is my new thought. This is the new thing coming in. And it does take time and repetition. So
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
I've studied the brain, as part of how this works, because that
Mhm.
didn't, coming from an analytical background, you were in the money background too.
Yeah,
So all this mindset things, they just didn't sound like, what does that have to do with anything? But
yeah,
when you actually know the brain is capable through neuroplasticity of rewiring and changing thoughts and building different beliefs at any
absolutely.
age. So it can be done, and there are practices and exercises to be able to do this.
Yes. And it's so powerful when you see that change, when you see that shift, when you see the confidence show up in your clients and they're like no longer having those disbeliefs. I know you've felt that and seen that. And we want that for every single one of you. We want that belief to be so powerful that it drives you in your business, that drives you in your life, because now you're like, yes, I am worthy. I do deserve this. And I am going after it. So, I know you have a resource you wanted to share with our listeners. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, it's a PDF that it's very simple, feminine financial formula.com. It just goes over the basic formula of 5 steps to help you start seeing more prosperity and to turn things around for you. It covers some of the mindset steps plus some of the other steps that you need to do along the way that can help starting to turn all this around for you on your own.
Awesome. Awesome. So that is an amazing gift. Check it out. We will have the link in the show notes because you want to turn this around. So go grab Susan's gift. It is going to help you in taking those steps. I cannot wait for you to grab that. And thank you so much, Susan, for being here with us. It's been amazing hearing about your OMG moments and your transitions in your business, in your career. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. And we encourage you guys to go out and figure out what is that money mindset for you? What are you telling yourself around that? How can you turn that around? And so go do Susan's exercise, writing it down, writing up what's coming up for you, and how can you create a new phrase that you are going to start saying that will help you get there. Have an amazing day. We'll see you next time.